Good afternoon, Ms. Kenti Sugianti.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Okay, would you like to try the share screen first? So later, if you have difficulty, it will be recovered.
Okay.
Okay, time is yours. All right, yes, it is working. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kenti.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, Ms. Fidelia Widya. Would you like to try the share screen first before start the session?
Pardon, but I'm not the presenter.
Oh, you're not the presenter.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Sorry. Good afternoon. Is Miss Fidelia Rati Widiawardani here?
Yes.
Oh,
I thought that I will present my research on the second day. Maybe Marcelina Hastia.
Okay, for Miss Marcelina Hastia, would you like to try the share screen?
Sure. Wait a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, it is
Okay.
working.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Miss Marcelina.
Sure.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second session of parallel session of the 8th International Language and Language Teaching Conference in Room 4. My name is Sarah, a fifth semester student of Sanata Dharma University, as today's moderator in this room. I will be in charge of this parallel session, but before we begin, please let me read the rules first. First, its presentation will last for 15 minutes. Second, in this parallel session, there will be 2 presentations delivered in a row. Third, I will remind via the raise hand icon if you have 5 minutes left for the presentations. Then I will send the notification in the chat box if you have 2 minutes left. Fourth, we will have question and answer session after all the presentation have been delivered. Just a gentle reminder, if you have questions during the presentation, you can type it on the chat box. And don't forget to add your name, affiliation, to whom the question is addressed, and then the question. And we will answer all the questions after all the presentation is delivered. And the last, other rules can be found in the program book. Is it understood? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now it's time for the presentation. There are 2 presentations in this room by Mrs. Marcelina Hastia Haninda, Mrs. Kenti Sugiyat, and Mrs. Lilia Indriani. Let's start with the first presentation entitled Perceiving English Teaching Self-Identity Among ELT Novice Teachers, a Frame's Perspective. It will be delivered by Miss Marcelina Hastia Haninda from Sanata Dharma University. Miss Marcelina, you may have your time now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Let me start presenting my study. It was about perceiving English teaching self-identity among ELT novice teachers, a French perspective. Here are the points that will be presented in this presentation. Before we started, let me start with the background of the study. So I was a student of English Language Education Study Program, batch 2016, and I was graduated in 2020. Some of my peers were continuing as ELT teachers, but some of them were not, right? As ELT teachers, they must have identity leading them. Teachers need to find their professional advancement and voice in teachers' teaching experiences. Related to categorize their teacher identity, I studied about the frame management model, which was developed by Pennington in 2015. So I studied how novice teachers see themselves, related on their work-related and teaching-related identity beliefs towards their career. From the background above, I propose two research questions. The first one is what kind of identity revealed by the novice teachers reflecting on their teacher-related belief. And then the second one is to what extent do their teacher identity belief impact on their professional identity construction. Here for the theories, I used the theory from Barkuzen 2017 about language teacher identity. So he stated that LTI is short, discursively in social interaction with teacher educators, learners, teachers, administrations, and the wider community, and in material interaction with spaces, places, and objects in classroom, institutions, and online. For the frames of teacher identity, I used the theory from Pennington in 2015, which she stated that it is a mental representation of what being a teacher means through the act of their professional work. Here she stated that there are two kind of frames. The first one is practice-centered frames, and then the second one is contextual frames. For the practice-centered frames, there are 5 points here. The first one is instructional frame. It's about teacher's persona. Here, they can be as a facilitator, disciplinarian, or subject matter expert. This perspective believes that the relationship between the teacher and the students are essential. Next is disciplinary frame. It reflects on teachers' academic qualification of study, and it might focus on linguistic, literature, and education. Next is professional frame. It offers foster and distribute research to support their work to a broader opportunities and wider knowledge in various contexts of language teaching. Next is vocational. The teachers dedicate themselves for students who are not able to learn fast. The last one from the practice-centered frame is economic frames. Here, it is a chance to get benefits in economic way, since English language teaching is a broadening globalized market involving in teaching English. For the second main frame is contextual frame. There are 3 kind of contextual frames. The first one is global. Here, teachers know the global issues in our day situation, whether it is English as international language or English as lingua franca. The next one is local. The teachers understand the local cultures and community to create understanding in teaching language practices. The last one is socio-cultural. It refers how the teachers position themselves to be able to create social connection in the group or affiliation they belong to in various contexts such as ethnic, racial, and gender. In the methodology part, for the approach, I use qualitative research, and the participants were 3 novice English teachers in senior high school. They are all English language education study program from Sanatadama University graduates. And then from the data collection and analysis, I use semi-structured interview in teachers' reflections. For the first one, the participants were examined the teacher's reflection to what extent their self-image and perception related to the aspects. The second one, and then I analyzed how the components were manifested in their practice. After that, I compared their actual teaching versus the ideal teaching, and after that, I reflected. It reflected on how the involvement between the ideal teaching and actual teaching. Here I do interview first, and then I analyze it, categorize it into which frames, and then make conclusion. For the finding and discussions, there are two findings. The first one is the extent to which their teacher identity incorporates their self-image and performance. As you can see in the screen, it refers to instructional perspective. Since the teacher facilitate the students to meet their needs and to monitor their development. Next, here, the example I refer to instructional and global frame because the teachers helping them to continue their studies as ELT expert. For the global frames, the teachers know the needs of the students. So as English as international language to pursue students' higher education. Next, the second one is the impact on their professional identity. There are two examples here. So the impact here is for novice teachers, their teaching identity has not fully evolved since they just starting teaching for about 2 years because they are novice teachers. And then the teacher identity will develop as soon as they teach heartedly and meaningfully. For the conclusion, I concluded that there are two frames. The first one is practice-centered frames. It's about an instructional perspective, and then for the practical context, it is global perspective. For the impacts, there are two impacts. The first one is emotion. The teachers believe that they teach give impact on students' understanding in learning English as a second language. For the experiences, the experience give influence on their future teaching development. These are the resources that I used. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Marcelina, for the inspiring presentation. Let's give applause for Miss Marcelina. Right. Now let's move on to the second presentation entitled Indonesian Pre-Service EFL Teachers Self-Efficacy on Classroom Educational Technology Integration. And it will be delivered by Miss Kenti Sugiat and Miss Lilia Indriani from Universitas Tidar. Miss Kenti and Miss Lilia, you may have your time now. Thank you.
Can you hear my presentation? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity given to me. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Kenti Sugiati, and I'm the undergraduate student at Universitas Tidar Magelang. So I would like to present my work entitled Indonesian Pre-Service EFL Teacher Self-Efficacy and Classroom Educational Technology Integration. So let's jump to the introduction or background of the study. So as a crucial component of 21st century skills, students are encouraged to have ICT competency, which enables them to engage in and contribute to society as global citizens and professionals. Therefore, educators nowadays are urged to integrate technology as their teaching tool. Teacher education then should prepare the pre-service teachers to be accustomed to 21st century skills, which are grounded significantly in the competency to utilize modern technology for pedagogical purposes. And the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic has given us clear evidence on the importance of technology in education, particularly in ELT. The INSU's Teachers Education and Professional Development Program plays to foster teachers' competency in using technology in the classroom are generated from different perspectives, including teacher self-efficacy. So self-efficacy here is referred to individuals' belief in his or her capacity to complete an action or particular goals. It is based on Bandura in 1997. And in other words, self-efficacy refers to one's confidence in their abilities to effectively navigate situations involving a new and unexpected component. And World Hayes in 2011 revealed that once self-efficacy has established, it is difficult to change. Therefore, it can be concluded that self-efficacy here plays an important role in a teacher's consideration on technology use. And due to the massive progress of technological researchers, Bandura emphasized that the pedagogical use of technology may necessarily entail particular style of self-efficacy. He further stated that teachers who have a high level of self-efficacy in their use of technology will be far more likely to incorporate technology in their classroom. And for the gap and research aim of the research, the literature unfolds a variety of explanation for teachers and preceptors perceive self-efficacy on technology use. However, in Indonesia context, researchers emphasize the study on extensive problems such as inadequate training and support for instructors as barriers to teachers integrating technology in English language classroom. However, the intrinsic factors such as technology self-efficacy has not been investigated or discussed implicitly. Nevertheless, teachers' decision to integrate technology in the classroom are more influenced by internal constraints such as self-efficacy belief rather than external constraints. And to fill the research gap from the previous study, this present study is proposed to investigating preceptors teacher self-efficacy on educational technology use, particularly in EFL classroom in Indonesia context. The following question was designed to frame the study. How are the EFL preceptors teachers perceive self-efficacy beliefs on classroom educational technology integration? And for the methodology that used in the study, I use this method design. For the quantitative, I used a survey adopted from More Hayes in 2011. And for qualitative, I used semi-structured interview. The participant here is 70 preceptors EFL teachers. They has been through technological course, namely TEL, and they also has been experiencing teaching practice both as student teachers and teachers in senior and children school. And for data analysis, I use quantitative analysis, descriptive statistic, and for the interview, I use qualitative exploration. And for the finding discussion, based on survey administered, the overall score mean of participants' response was 4.6, demonstrating that they perceive a moderately high level of technological self-efficacy. The item with the highest item mean, as you can see on the screen, was the extent to which participants incorporate technology to enhance English language teaching. However, the lowest item mean that a participant here feel is regarding on the context on how well prepared they could evaluate software to support use for conducting their classes. And with regards to self-efficacy levels toward technology integration in the EFL context, this quantitative data reported that most of the preceptor teachers in the study had a moderately high level of self-efficacy. This present study had similar findings with Gills and Kemp's in 2016 on their study in relation to preceptor teachers' self-efficacy, who also indicate a moderately high level. And these results were determined positive since the study revealed that teacher self-efficacy has influence on teaching and learning. And this study also in line in line with Mendelsohn study, which found that many new educators are digital natives who grew up with technology and disclose a high level of confidence in utilizing both traditional and modern media. And for the qualitative data from the interview, the pre-first TFL teachers' experience on technology integration in partnership classroom. So I interview several students who have experience teaching practice with partnership classroom. It can be senior and also elementary school students. And the first question is about their belief or perception on the implementation of technology in their instruction. As the data from the survey before, the overall participant had a moderately high level of self-efficacy. It relates to the participants' answer on interview section, which shows a positive belief in their ability to implement technology. The main rationale is due to they want to maintain an effective and interesting teaching and learning process, as stated by participant 1. I think technology use will ease the students in having some learning activities. Besides, it allows the student for experiencing various media and sources, so the class will not be bored. Then kids nowadays are fast learners about technology, so it will ease teacher to introduce and use some websites or application. And the next question is related to the technology used during their partnership classroom. All the participants responded that they had access and time to use technology during their partnership teaching practice, and compared to how they expect their ability to use technology to when it was actually being realized in partnership classroom, the participant found that their experience of technology implementation was overall in line with their expectation. They encountered problems like internet connection issues and miscommunication, but it can still be handled. And the type of technology that they commonly use is Zoom and Google Meet and laptop, and as well as WhatsApp. Okay, and the next question on the interview section is regarding participants' feelings on their technology integration experience. The first participant stated that she often felt overwhelmed in using the technology during the pandemic. It was due to the lack of support from the students' parents. And the other participant who taught elementary students experienced nervous when the first time they use technology for the teaching process. However, when it comes to the following meetings, they felt confident. They much more become confident. And the two other participants feel that they were confident enough to use technology for their instruction, as stated by the participant. I feel confident enough in using technology because this technology is not difficult for me to handle. And the interview also asks factors that influence their consideration of technology use. The participant mentioned that there are several factors that influence their use of technology, such as their willingness to keep conducting an effective teaching practice, the perceived use of technology, and also their awareness of the importance of technology in this pandemic era. However, there are several crucial factors that inhibiting their technology use, such as connection and then lack of support. And from the finding and discussion, there are several conclusions that can be withdrawn. The first is the quantitative data reveal that pre-service teachers' technological self-efficacy degree is moderately high level, and it was viewed positive level, but considering that technology has crucial impacts on students in achieving the learning objective, preparing teachers, pre-service teachers to have a higher level of educational technology is essential. And then the second conclusion is from the qualitative data, the study reported that generally participants have a positive belief regarding their capacity to technology use on their teaching. However, understanding the variables that may affect their consideration on technology use need to be further investigated. Several factors that mentioned before that influence their consideration, like self-belief or perspective on technology, technical support, perceived ease of use, and support also need to be further explored. Additionally, the teaching experience that they conducted has helped them to increase their confidence in integrating technology for pedagogical purposes, even though there were several factors that hinder their practice, but they still can manage them. And for the situation, the study offers suggestion for education programs in Indonesia higher education to integrate technology for instruction as part of the courses that students should enroll in, and to deepen their knowledge, skills, and confidence by allowing them to have field activities in relation to classroom educational technology integration, particularly in the EFL context, considering the crucial impact technology can make for students' outcomes. I think that's all about presentation of my study. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Kenti, for the very amazing and informative presentation. And now we are going to move to the question and answer session. I will invite only 3 questions first. One participant, 1 question. You may use the raise hand feature on the Zoom, and then you can type the question on the chat box. And don't forget to mention your name, your affiliation, to whom the question is addressed. Then don't forget to mention the question. Okay, let's start to the first question. Is there any questions maybe from the participants wants to ask to Miss Candy or Miss Marcelina? Okay. Once again, if you have question, okay. For Miss Rizky Farani, you can type your question or you can just directly say the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask Miss Kenti about a further recommendation for the department, every teachers training department in Indonesia, maybe, what kind of training that we need to emphasize to make sure that our pre-service teacher has good basic knowledge about mental capability as a teacher, because as far as my experience, maybe most of the department teachers training focus the training only on cognitive, how to make lesson plan, how to prepare the media, how to develop the material. But maybe you have a suggestion, for a further recommendation for curriculum revision. What kind of training that we can give to make sure that the pre-service teacher has a very good preparation related to their self-efficacy? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rizky, for the question. Maybe Ms. Kenti, do you want to move to the next question first, or do you want to answer the question directly?
Could I just directly answer the question?
Yes, sure. Time is yours.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for the very excellent question. So based on my perspective, the suggestion that I can give in order to improve pre-service teachers' preparation on the technology use, particularly in their psychological and mental preparedness, is the course that embed technology integration should be emphasized on how to evaluate software or technology that can be used in teaching practice. Because as what experience, the technological course like TEL, Technology Enhanced Language Learning, is emphasized on the skill like the knowledge that we can use for in regards to various technology that we can use, and there is lack of like evaluation, like collaborative evaluation that done between teachers and lecturers. So what I want to emphasize here is the technological course can emphasize more on the evaluation on what kind of technological course that students want to have. So for example, we can integrate a kind of collaborative evaluation, collaborative works that students can have a field experience on the integrating technology. So before they have a teaching practice in, for example, in elementary school or junior or senior high school, they have been prepared more in evaluating technology that suitable for their students. So we need to emphasize on evaluation, on technology evaluation. So students or preceptive teacher can deeply know what technology that they will use on their teaching practice. Hope that it can answer your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Canty. How about Miss Whiskey? Is it already clear enough for the answer?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the questions. We're going to move to maybe the next question. Is there any participant who wants to ask something from the presenters? Maybe. Yeah. All right, we are still waiting for the next question. You can just type on the chat box, or you can directly ask the question. Okay, we will wait for a couple minutes maybe, yeah. The question is still open, so don't feel hesitant if you want to ask something. All right, we have another question from Sion from USD to Miss Canty again. I will read the question. Is there any solution for the teacher who's still not familiar with the technology, while we see that technology is very helpful for the teaching and learning process? Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Sion, for the question. And Miss Canty, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for the good question. What kind of the questions like what kind of action that we can do if there are some teachers who couldn't integrate technology because their lack of knowledge. So as educators and as a perspective researchers, we can make kind of training or pengabdian masyarakat, and we can make kind of training on the technology used that commonly used in this pandemic era, like how to use Zoom, how to use Google Classroom, and that kind of thing, and that kind of technology. So we can make like tutorial, or we can make a book that consists of procedures in making how in making in we can make a book that consists of a procedure in the use of specific technology like Zoom or Google Classroom. So besides we conduct a training, we can also contribute in making a tutorial in technology use, so we can deliver this product to teachers. I think that's my answer. Is it answer your question?
Okay, thank you, Miss Kanti. How about Sion? Is it already answered your question?
Yes, Sarah. Thank you, Miss Kenti, for answering my question.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. And then we are going to move to the last question. Maybe for those of you who had a question, please raise your hand first and then, or just type the question on the chat box. Okay, Miss Rizky, you can.
Yeah, I wanna ask about teacher's identity to Miss Marcelina. I think I would like to know Miss Marcelina's personal opinion about what is the most important emotional identity that we need to reconstruct in ourselves to prepare us to be a better teacher in the future. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Rizky. Miss Marcelina, time is yours.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
From your opinion, based on your opinion, what is the most important emotional identity that we need to reconstruct in ourselves to prepare us to be a better teacher in the future?
Okay, Ms. Marcelina, you can directly answer the question. Time is yours. Thank you.
Wait a second.
All right. If there are still other questions, you can just ask on the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to answer Miss Rizky Farani's question. As a future teacher, yeah, I think the emotional identity we would have is the ability or the courage to understanding the technology, because now this technology is very crucial and essential through this pandemic. And then if we cannot understand the technology well, we cannot teach the students. Moreover, the students, we call it as digital natives, right? Because they born in the digital era. Maybe they know better about technology, so that we have to, what is that? We have to be more experienced than them. Yeah, I think that is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Marcelina. How about the answer, Miss Rizky?
Okay, so we need to have a positive perspective, yeah, about technology. Yeah, thank you for the answer.
All right, thank you so much for the question. And we're still waiting for maybe the last question before we end this session, maybe. Is there any question from the participants, maybe? All right. I think there are no questions for the presenters. So I think that's the end of our parallel session today in parallel session 2. And after you leave, please don't forget to fill the exit ticket. I will share the link on the chat box. Don't forget to fill the exit tickets. Once again, I just want to say thank you for all the presenters, Mrs. Marcelina and Mrs. Kenty, for the very inspiring and entertaining presentation. And I also thank you for the participants who has already joined and have a discussion in this session. Okay, see you again tomorrow on the second day of the conference. We'll have the keynote speeches from Dr. Willy Renandia, Dr. Jane Lammers, and Dr. Kosa Kastuhandani. Thank you so much for today. You may leave now. See you tomorrow. Once again, don't forget to fill the exit ticket before you leave. Thank you.